And welcome to the first day of the trading week, and this Monday's a week ahead. It's already a busy start to the week as Eurozone Composite PMI surges to 54 months high, while David Cameron holds talks with French President Francois Hollande. Looking at this and more data to look out for this week, I'm joined by Alastair McCaig, market analyst with IG. So Alastair, today we had Eurozone Composite PMI increase to a 4.5-year high in November as new orders are driven by a weaker currency and price cutting. Some mixed results in regards to France and Germany, however. So what's your main takeaway from this data, and how do you think the ECB will respond?
I think the ECB will be pleased, certainly with the likes of the German manufacturing and services figures and the overall Eurozone figures. But I think it'll be pleased with certainly an undercurrent of caution because these figures will have undoubtedly be correlated before we feel the full effects of what has gone on in the last week or so in specifically Paris, but now also emerging in Brussels. And the knock-on consequences to specifically the likes of the services PMI data for France will be badly affected from what is a country that relies on over 80 million tourists visiting Paris on an annual basis. Undoubtedly, that figure will be badly dented on the back of the tragic events.
Looking to the UK now, where later this week we'll have the autumn statement for 2015. What should we expect from George Osborne's statement?
I think a lot of the plans that George Osborne had previously had in regards to tackling the deficit and reorganising the budget will have, unfortunately, been changed pretty aggressively. His plans in regards to benefits that the UK populace were having and trimming those have been vetoed by the House of Lords, and he's had to go back to the drawing board with those. And I think it's materialised in the last less than a week that there is going to be a shift in the mindset towards budget cuts and the use of the UK military. A glance at the equity markets this morning shows that the top two movers in the FTSE, top two climbers in the FTSE are Rolls-Royce and British Aerospace Systems, highlighting the fact that the defence sector has been reinvigorated with the expectations that penciled-in budgetary cuts are considerably less likely to materialise, and arguably there could in fact be an increase in spending. This really has been triggered by the fact that David Cameron has been over in Paris speaking to his counterparty Francois Hollande, and I think that the likelihood is that Britain will become increasingly more proactive in regards to our military actions in the Mediterranean and specifically against ISIS, and rather than just offering analytical assistance, will probably embark upon a more direct military action, and that in itself will ensure that there is increased spending from the UK government. So that's certainly an area where he will have had to, George Osborne will have had to reorganise things in a pretty short time.
Tomorrow, markets will be looking at data concerning Q3 economic activity in the US, with many expecting this release to show expansion. It's likely whatever we see from this reading will bring up the topic of the Fed's December meeting. Do you expect an increase this week, and will there be much market reaction from this data?
I think the undercurrent tone, as far as the markets are concerned, for the last couple of weeks, when it comes to the US and their ability to raise interest rates, are that we would have to see data that would prevent them from being able to raise interest rates in December, rather than arguably being a catalyst to make them start raising interest rates. And I think that's a shift in mindset, certainly as far as the future markets and the FX markets are concerned. Although all the economic data coming out of the US hasn't been across the board outstanding, it's been good enough to ensure that the current plan or expectations that the markets have of a December interest rate rise are going to be in place. And it's worth noting as well that the Fed chair, Janet Yellen, has publicly stated her preferred course of action is to start interest rates rising this year. It's also worth noting as well, although the expectations are normally around the fact that we'll see changes of 25 basis points, there is nothing written to say that it can't be just 10 basis points or 15 basis points if the Fed or FOMC are particularly hesitant, they could certainly reduce the size of increase that they bring to the table.
This is the news to watch out for this week. Keep up to date with the latest developments and market news for the rest of the week right here on Dukascopy TV. Bye for now.